everyone. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the Self Care Corner. And we have another guest here, Virginia Dale Manning. And I'm so excited to have her here. She had me on her podcast a few weeks ago, and we had a great time talking about mental health and all those things. So, since we're in the same line of business and like the mental health space, I thought it would be great to have her on too and just hear a little bit more about her story. So, thanks for being here, Virginia.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. And you were an awesome guest. They can go back and watch your
Sure can.
wonderful interview on Girl Talk Mental Health. You were awesome. And I think we were talking about self-care, probably more li than likely. It was about
Yeah,
self-care.
most
So,
likely, and
mhm.
how mental health is a big part of that. So, how did you start Girl Talk Mental Health?
Well, it's always been like a part of my plan for expanding and sharing mental health tips and everything, the awareness part, the education part. And I actually kind of started around COVID,
Mm,
when everybody was, hopping on online to do certain things or whatever. So it kind of started, it didn't not kind of, it did start during the COVID era. And it was actually just girl talk at that time. And
mm,
so then I kind of fizzled off because I felt like I wasn't, and this was a bad mindset of thinking, oh,
happens.
it's not building the traction that I need, so I'm gonna stop. When, if it's only one person watching, that was monumental in itself. And so I just had to, break through that thought process or whatever. So now that I've evolved and want to still continue outreach and educating more people about mental health. My mission is to reach 2 million people within the next 3 years about mental health and educate them. So I decided to bring back the girl talk,
Yeah.
but put the mental health part to it because, that's my passion and my love. And so here we are, and we're on the E360 TV, YouTube, and I'm just trying to
Represent.
expand. And thank you for being part of that expansion of bringing awareness to everybody.
That is beautiful. And mental health is so important. So, how did you get like on this track for mental health? What's kind of your story in that?
Well, the story really is in my book, Set Apart,
Oh, I
The
like the
Journey
book.
to Find Hope in Times of Shame, Loneliness, and Death, if you want to know the full story.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I give you the short cliff
Yeah,
note
little
version.
spark notes, little
Okay,
spark
yeah.
notes.
So my mom in 1994 completed suicide on her third attempt. And
Yeah.
so I was in my younger 20s. I had an older sister, a younger brother, but I felt like if we had been more educated about mental health, especially in the minority communities where
Yeah.
we just don't have the resources or the education, especially back then in 1994. And then when my mom was coming up, I know I'm sure she had some symptoms when she was growing up and was left untreated, which evolved into her adulthood, but she completed in 1994. And so it just affected me and my siblings,
Yeah.
in such a devastating way. And I kind of evolved into the role of a mental health therapist because I started off as a school teacher, and then I became certified as a school counselor and couldn't get a job. But that's okay because God had other plans for me, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I can't get a job. Guess what? I'll go back and get these couple of hours that I need to become a licensed professional therapist. So I did that and evolved into becoming a therapist. And now I have my own practice because
Woohoo.
I just want to get more outreach. And now I'm trying to remove myself from the practice so that I could do more for the world, more education. Because I feel like sincerely, like from the bottom of my heart, I'm really passionate about that. If we had been more educated about what my mom was going through,
Yeah.
and about depression and grief and all of the things that she was experiencing, I feel like, we could have been more supportive. We could have helped her through some of the trials and tribulations she was going through, and it may have helped her to not have to feel like suicide was the answer.
Yeah. That's, thank you for sharing. That is so vulnerable and it's so, oh man, thank you for sharing and thank
So
you
it's a
for,
story that's absolutely needed.
yeah,
And
it
like a
is.
couple of
Yeah.
people have read my book and they like, I'm I wouldn't have been bold enough to share the stuff that they say, and I wouldn't have been bold enough to share the things that you shared in that book. But
Hmm.
it's not about me, right? God
Yeah.
has a plan for me. I believe he put us through certain trials and tribulations and help
Yes.
us to overcome those trials and tribulations so that we can be, a beacon of light to other people. So the transparency, I know people probably like, oh, I would never have been able to tell that type of stuff in a book, but it was necessary and that was part of my mission. It's part of my purpose. So it's needed.
100%. Yeah. And
Mhm.
it sounds like you're operating in your purpose. And people out there, like when you're operating in your purpose, there's like this boldness that comes upon you. There's like this alignment that happens. And when it comes to mental health and the minority community, but like in all communities, it's so like I love that you were being so bold about this, Virginia, because there is such a shame and a stigma around mental health. It's getting better,
Mhm.
but when I was coming up in the church too, it's like you don't need therapy, pray it away. And I was
Mhm.
praying and all these other things, but like there was no feeling of peace. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? And now that doesn't mean I'm not a Christian, but it
Right.
seems like there are mental health things that need to be addressed. And it always makes you think of like if you break your arm, you're going to go to the doctor, right? You're not just going to pray for your arm to get healed, but you're actually going to
Absolutely.
seek help. That's the
Mhm.
same thing with your mental health. It's like
Right.
a doctor for your brain, essentially.
Mhm.
And there's so much going on in this world right now. So, like, outside of your everyday life, there's been layers added. I won't like go into so much, but turn on the news, you'll see, right?
Mhm.
And that's why it's so important for us to really be taking care of ourselves. So, what do you do to take care of yourself in this crazy time in our world right now?
I am a strong believer of prayer and letting God take the wheel for sure.
Mm.
But like you say, there are things on earth that we have to do, right? Because um I, pastors and churches and the people who are technically ordained are not the only intercessors
Mm-hmm.
on this earth. Right?
Yep.
God placed all of us here on earth for a reason to be a beacon for Him, to be a voice for Him. So that's what you were saying about the church thing, because I was in a church. Well, I am in a church. I still go to the church because I
Yep.
love
Yep.
the
Yep.
church.
Yes and
I love
amen.
the way they teach. So this little
Yeah.
barrier that I'm about to say is not going to persuade me not to love my church. But it's just that thing that all churches do where they tell you, and they've gotten better about it, that
Yeah.
don't go to the therapist, give it to God, pray about God, you
Yeah.
don't therapist, this and that. And I'm like, but I'm a member and I'm a therapist. Like, and you
Yes
want my
and
tithe money, don't you? And my offering. So if I wasn't a therapist, where would you get, I wouldn't be able to pour into your mission.
Mhm.
So just that part is, it's like a little stickler for me, but I love my church. Don't get it
Yes and
twisted.
amen. Yes and amen. And it
But
go
yeah,
ahead.
but that part and just reading, I like to read a lot, and reading saved me. I even have that in my book now. Reading saved me from the things that I was experiencing when my mom had her mental health issues. So I used to go to the library all the time. I used to
Mm.
like when I used to I was a kid, right? And she was at home. She was in her, mental health states doing whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. When I would want to go to the library, she wouldn't want to go, or I would just need a way to something to do to get out of the house, and I would go to the library as a young kid, fictitiously get my own library card. And I was a kid, so
Yeah.
of course sometimes I didn't turn the book in on time or I lost it or whatever, and then I couldn't get another book on that library card. So I fictitiously got me another library card. So the library saved me. I would go there, uh, at the it was the basement part of the library that was like for the kids. They had the little lounges and it was like a little kid area.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I would go there,
Fancy. Yeah.
sometimes if I couldn't check out a book, I would just lay there, read the books, join the book club. So books saved me. Even to this day, child,
Mm.
Amazon loves me because all I buy is books. I buy so many
Yeah.
books. I'm like, Virginia, you need to stop buying all of these books. You would not be able to read these books, all of these books. And every time I see a book I like, I buy it. I have to. I'm like, oh no, I need it. I need it. There's no way in the world I can read all of these books that I have. But
The thing,
that's
yeah.
part of my self-care is reading, taking my mind as a kid, reading books, adventure books,
Yeah.
uh suspenseful books. It would take my mind to a different place because I couldn't
Yeah.
travel there. So reading the books is how I got to escape, to go to different places and be in different places. Even today, even though most of the books I read are about business and professional things, it
Right.
still takes
Mhm.
my mind to a different place where I'm not, in the stressors of running a business and just everyday life.
I hear you. And that's something I do too with more movies, but sometimes I tell myself, because I get in like the groove of like I need to be doing business things, listening to these podcasts, yada yada. And it's like, Angel, take a break. And I call it
Mhm.
brain rot. But that's like
Okay.
when I'll make myself watch like a comedy or like a reality show or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just to take my mind to something completely different
Completely
in order
different.
to reset because I'm very type A and it's like gotta go, 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 do, do, do. But then also it's like, wait, I need to remember to chill and breathe. Like that'll get done when it gets done. It's okay. And you gotta have that balance in life.
Absolutely.
So important.
Absolutely. Taking breaks. And I tell my clients all the time, because we do want to just go, go, go. And you like,
Mhm.
oh, I have to go another 30 minutes. I have to go another day. I can't take a break. I have to go, go, go. But then you really don't realize that the more you force yourself to keep going,
Mhm.
you really are slowing down. Your brain moving slow,
Seriously.
your
Yeah.
body moving slow. That's because you're tired. But if you take
Yeah.
a break, take your self-care, you know, whatever it is your self-care plan is, and remove yourself from working, like be strict on 9 to 5. If it's 9 to 5, cut off
Yep.
at
Yep. Close
5.
that
Okay.
laptop.
Right. Start fresh at 9 o'clock in the morning. You'll get that
Mhm.
task done even faster instead of trying to stay over and, oh, I gotta finish. I gotta finish.
Yeah.
So a
Yeah.
15-minute task end up taking you a whole hour, and then you feeling like, oh, I'm something is wrong with me. I usually could do this faster. So now you feeling like you're not the best at your job anymore, or whatever. When actually
Yeah.
you're just tired, boo. Take a break.
Yeah, 100%. And sometimes what people don't know is like if you take that break, you're gonna come back refreshed. Like so sometimes at work too, I will just like go on a walk. My coworker and I will
Hmm.
go on a walk, and that 10-minute walk will just replenish and reset us. And it's like, okay,
Absolutely.
now time for the next chapter. So taking that moment to slow down can actually help you do better. It can actually help you
Hmm.
speed up. I've been hearing the phrase lately, slow down to speed up. So don't be
Hmm.
afraid. Don't be afraid. I challenge you all to do that this week, this upcoming week. If you have a task and you're trying to just push through, I challenge you to just take a 10-minute break, walk away, and come back and see what happens.
Hmm.
I want you to put that in the comments next week. So,
Right. And I actually read a book just recently that was talking about how to take breaks or whatever. And it was
mhm,
saying, how to batch and plan your life or
mhm,
whatever your
mhm.
day so you could be more effective. And it was like work for 50 minutes, take a 10-minute break.
Yep.
Work for 50 minutes, take a 10-minute break. So that could be a great rule of thumb as well.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks for sharing.
Hmm.
And there's something else that you made me think about when you were kind of talking about like church and therapy and all those things. And there's no knock to any churches,
None at
but
all.
it made me think of this story. There was a guy and he had fallen overboard, right? And so a ship comes, right? And he's like, "Hey, like, do you need some help? We can help you." And he's like, "No, God's gonna save me," right? And then I think like a helicopter comes and they're like, "Hey, here, let me throw the ladder down." And he's like, "No, God's going to help me. He's going to help me." And then another person comes to offer him help and he passes up the opportunity, right? And so this guy ends up in heaven and he's like, "God, why didn't you save me?" He's like, "I sent you three opportunities to get saved essentially,
Okay.
but you didn't take them." So sometimes when it comes to like therapy and mental health, God can be giving you other options for that, but you need to take those opportunities. It may not always come in the way that you think about, and it's not always just going to be like praying or anything like that, but there could be other
Hmm.
resources. Like, don't get me
Right.
wrong, I love to pray. Jesus is great. But he may give you other opportunities and you just need to be aware and open to them.
Right, because that's how he operates. Like he can't come down himself and bring you
Yeah,
the helicopter with the ladder. He was, I guess, you wanted him to be the one driving the helicopter. Like,
I guess, I don't know, or just like
yeah,
provide a random raft or something like that.
right.
But
Be
yeah,
like, thank you, Jesus, for sending this helicopter. I know it was you that sent this person to save me. Yes.
yeah, 100%. Man, this has been a good conversation. So, where can people find you? Like, if they wanted to know more about you, if they wanted to just get your book.
Well, I'm on all social media platforms at Virginia Dale Manning. Um, yeah, social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, my YouTube, everything. I try to keep it sweet and simple at Virginia Dale
Okay,
Manning.
got it. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna
Yes.
do a little PS though. Do you have any like final words of wisdom that you would like to give to people?
Well, and I know everybody isn't on the same spiritual level, right? But
Yeah.
whatever your spirituality is, and if it's working for you, most of all, do what you need to do to help yourself be grounded, to take care of
Mhm.
you. Don't worry about how someone else is doing something because everyone is unique. Everyone has their own way of doing things. So embrace your uniqueness, right? Do what you need to do to be
Yeah.
successful in your zone of gift, your zone of genius. Like everyone has their own, so stay in yours.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you everyone for watching this episode. Please like and subscribe, send this to a friend. I think there are a lot of shiny little nuggets in this episode, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you for having me.